Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of Daniel's Prayer Window. We're in the series Priceless, and we have entered our session number 3. Session number 3, which is Saved by God's Son. Saved by God's Son. I hope you enjoyed last week's session on the freedom that we have in God's forgiveness. And today, we're gonna take a look at the salvation that God really offers us. Sometimes we think of salvation as just a prayer we say and bam, we're saved. But there's a whole lot more to it that we're going to go and dig deep on it. And this is all this first part today is based on John chapter 1. So wherever you find yourself, if you're tuning into this message, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're at wherever you find yourself, just tune into this message because really I think this message has the power to transform your life and get you closer to God. Now let's read real quick John chapter 1 verse 1 through 5, and it says this: In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. If you've the first time you listen to these words in John, you're wondering what on earth are they talking about. So let's just quickly explain. What do John's words in these verses teach us about Jesus? Remember, we're talking about saved by God's Son. God's Son is Jesus himself. So what do these verses have to do with Jesus? Now, the word, it says in the beginning was the Word. That is a title for Jesus. Everything God wanted to say to humankind, he said it through Jesus Christ. The Word is eternal. The Word is divine. The Word is life. The Word is light. It said that in him, through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. You see here in verse 4, there's a reference to the Trinity. In him was life. In who? In God. How do we know this? Because Jesus says, may my disciples remain in me as I remain in you. So in him was life, verse 4. Who is it talking about? God the Father. Whose life are we talking about? Jesus, because Jesus said, I am the life. So in the Father was Jesus, and that Jesus was the light of all mankind. In him was life, and that life, which is Jesus, was and is the light of all mankind. And that light, Jesus himself, shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Isn't that amazing? So, the word, Jesus himself, is light. Now, what does light do? Light, number one, light reveals. It shines in our hearts and lives to reveal our sin and our need for Jesus. Think of it, when we step into a dark room, we immediately search with our hand against the wall where that light switch is, because we need to see where we're going. In the same manner, light, Jesus himself, he shines in our hearts and lives to reveal our sin. Now, it's very interesting because Jesus is the light of the world. He shines in our heart, and that light lets us know how much we need Jesus himself. So it's like Jesus causes us to run to him. And it's just an everlasting cycle of running to Christ, running to Christ, running to Christ. His light shines in our darkness. We feel the need to run to the light, and we run to him, and he sheds more light in our darkness. And it's an everlasting cycle, day by day, running to Jesus Christ. Number 2, what else does light do? Light gives guidance. Because you see, when we follow Jesus, we will never get sidetracked. The word says, your words are are a lamp onto my path. Your words are a lamp onto my path. See, when Jesus is in your life, your walking, your daily walk, your road will always be lit up. There's a lot of people that live nowadays in darkness, in ignorance, in just wherever the wind sways them, whatever decision, and it's bad decision after bad decision. Wouldn't you like to start making the right decisions for once in your lifetime? Wouldn't you like having to stop worrying and over worrying about every single decision you make? If there's light in your path, then you won't get sidetracked. And number 3, light gives assurance. Light gives assurance. The light of Jesus reveals His truth and salvation, and when we rest in that, we have assurance and peace in Him. One of the reasons why you and I deal with anxiety is because we're not receiving enough light. And when you're not receiving enough light, that means you're receiving darkness. My first question to you today, in this very first day of the work week, which light? What are you getting in your life? Are you getting light or are you getting darkness? You're always going to be getting one or the other. There's no such thing as being in the middle. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So in the beginning was, let me just replace certain words so this makes more sense to you. In the beginning, I'm reading to you John 1, verse 1 through 5. I'm going to replace some words so it makes a little more sense. In the beginning was Jesus, and Jesus was with God, and Jesus was God. Jesus was with God in the beginning. Pause there. Which God is talking about? God the Father. Through Him, through Jesus, all things were made. Without Jesus, nothing was made that has been made. In God the Father was life. In God the Father was Jesus, and that Jesus was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness. Jesus shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You see how much more sense it makes? I hope it does when we replace the words with the names of God the Father and God the Son and God the Holy Spirit. So this is talking about the Word. Jesus became flesh. And the first step of understanding the salvation through God's Son, Jesus Christ, is knowing that He was there before the beginning of time. He was there before everything else was Jesus. In the beginning was the Word. And that everything that revolves around us, including our very lives, through Him all things were made. You are born today on this earth because Jesus Himself decided that you needed to be born on this earth. Through Him all things were made, including us human beings. So today, know that you're not born by mistake. You're not on this planet without purpose. You're not just here to survive, to exist. You're here with a purpose, because through Him all things were made. And I really, really doubt that God made a mistake in making you in the palm of His hands. I doubt that God made a mistake by letting you be born on this planet Earth. If you were born because Jesus said so, then you have a plan and you have a purpose. So, in the beginning was Jesus. Jesus was with God, and Jesus was God. And Jesus shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. I want to end with this. The whole purpose of becoming a Christian is to be more like Jesus. It's not to join a church. It's not necessarily to give your offerings. It's not. Those are all side things that come automatically. The whole purpose of Christianity is follow the steps of Jesus Christ until His light becomes our light too, and we become lights in the darkness as well. Jesus in another verse, He says, "You are the light of the world." How come? Wait a second. It says here in John, he was the light of the world. Well, when we get close to Jesus and we learn from him, his light becomes our light. And now we are the lights of the world. And now we shine in darkness. We're not supposed to shine in church. We're supposed to shine outside of church, in the darkness, in the midst of your co-workers, in the middle when you go get your food, when you go buy groceries, it's out there in the darkness where you shine the most. And where people want to see Jesus. They don't want to see us. They want to see Jesus. So today, know that you're saved by God's Son, but not just any Son. We're talking about the Word himself. The Son who is the light onto our path, the light that reveals, and the light that guides. I pray that today you're encouraged. Today, feel the warm love of God all around your heart. I will see you next time we meet, Wednesday at noon. Take care. Bye-bye.